Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Super Game Brothers podcast. This is episode number 35 of our weekly board game and video game podcast. My name is David, and I'm joined every week by my brother, Devin, 5th week in a row in my casa. How you doing, Devin?
Yeah. Fantastic. Recovering from November. Wait, Thanksgiving, I mean?
I was going to say November will get you.
Dude, November's always coming for me. It's like the shadow.
Yeah, recovering from Thanksgiving. Yep. This is recording a couple days late. We even were in the same room Wednesday with plans to record. And what happened, Devin?
Oh, we played Vampire Survivors instead.
Until like 2 a.m, yeah. You can't be stopped, you know. Sometimes that game will ruin your entire evening's plans, but hey. Little late recording, but it's all right. You were on holiday anyways. You were eating turkey. You were having that tryptophan nap. You were eating stuffing. All the stuff. So it's all right, probably.
Tryptophan.
That's what it's called, right?
I don't know.
I think there's like a chemical in turkey that makes you tired. And for some reason, I feel like it's called tryptophan. But I may have made that up. Who knows? Nobody knows.
That's why I just eat the ham. And then I'm thriving all day. So you got the tryptophan in there?
Yeah. You got the
tryptophan
in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was this year it was my wife's family's turn. Since I'm married, we split up and do one family's Thanksgiving each year. So I wasn't with you guys. And we didn't have any ham at Lacey's family's Thanksgiving, which was a little disappointing, but the turkey was on point, so I forgive him for that.
Interesting. I was wondering why everyone feels the need to do the same food on Thanksgiving. Like I'm down to just like have hamburgers and milk.
Devin's favorite meal, hamburgers and milk. Yeah, I was talking with Lacey about that too. Like for Thanksgiving and Christmas, could we like do something crazy? Do like a sushi evening or something? That'd be fun.
Yeah, that'd be honestly way cool.
Lacey's family does a big crab dinner on Christmas, like Christmas Eve, and they get tons of crab legs and eat crab.
I like that.
It's like the most unique dinner I've seen
on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Wow. I was talking to our cousin and I said, if I ever own my own place, I'm gonna do things differently. My tree is not gonna be cute. It's going to be as ugly as they come, every color of lights, and I'm going to lay it on its side.
You're like George Costanza and just got to do the opposite, George. Whatever he was doing isn't working, so you can do the opposite of everything.
I don't know who that is.
He's one of the main characters on Seinfeld. He's the bald one, George.
Does he like to do what everyone else doesn't do?
There's a few episodes where he says his life is like a mess and everything he's working or has been trying to do, nothing has worked. And so he's going to try and do the exact opposite of every instinct he has. If I think I should do this, I'm going to do the opposite.
Oh, maybe that's what I need to do.
And immediately after that little conversation in the booth at the diner they eat at every morning, he goes up to this like pretty lady and says, "My name's George. I'm 33 years old and I live with my parents."
I'll bet that worked.
And she said he got a date with her because she was like impressed with how bold he was. So, and then that reconfirmed his like opposite George thing. Anyways, that would be your tree sideways, black lights on it or something.
Yeah, except I'm 33 years old living with my parents. So I can't have my own tree. I could get a small tree in my room, just lay it on its side.
There'd be pine needles everywhere.
And I won't plug it in. The cord will be really close to the outlet, but not quite there.
Yeah, it's not plugged in. That's funny. Well, Devin, it's been a week since we recorded this last week, and because of the holiday, I don't think really much is new with me. I guess just real quick, my wife and I have been watching a TV show we really loved. I've been calling it like Breaking Bad 1.5. Breaking Bad is one of my very favorite TV shows of all time. And this show was on Showtime called Your Honor. And it also has Bryan Cranston, who has something happen in his life as a judge and then has to start doing some shady things in order to keep his family safe from like a mobster. And so a very similar vibe to Breaking Bad. Same actor. Same like, I don't know. I'm like a really bold Walter White like character, and there's a villain who's also like really bold, like kind of working against me. Very intense. Really love it so far. My wife is like uber hooked. She had to stay up till 4 a.m. the other day watching that show, and it's great. Can't recommend it enough. Definitely a bit violent, a little cussy, but surprisingly a lot less so than most other like shows that I have ever seen on Showtime or HBO or anything like that. But it does, it has a bit of language, so just a little heads up there. But other than that, I don't think anything new has been going on in my family, Devin. Anything new in your household?
No, I've been rewatching Impractical Jokers. It's my New Girl used to feel like home to me, but now Impractical Jokers feels like home to me.
That's a good one.
Been rewatching that, working on the fitness. I'm almost 200 pounds, which is the goal.
That's
bulking
the goal,
season. It's been bulking season for all year.
Okay.
It's been a whole bulking year.
Bulking year.
And probably next year.
The incredible bulk.
Oh, if I could hit 210, whoo! Shoot. What else have I been doing? I tried the new season of Fortnite. Spoiler for further in the episode.
Wow.
But I only tried like 3 times, so I don't have much to say about it. So I'll probably just skip that game later on.
Oh, it's all good.
What else? What else have I been doing? I don't know. I helped our neighbor. They're elderly. And the one lady, she can't really get up.
Okay.
And so I go over and I help them I get on the ladder and help them put their Christmas stuff up and hang their wreath and their lights and all their things. And yeah, I did that. My
cool.
car is once again not registered, which is super cool. So if anybody wants to donate to this podcast and help me pay for that, I was sick. What's going on?
All these regular life issues. Yeah.
No, but I'm doing well. I'm breathing. Everything in life seems to be going good. I'm happy. No complaints here.
Nice.
For me. Yeah, I'm vibing all the time.
Love it.
We just had In and Out to kick off this podcast, and it's fantastic.
We had kind of a crazy evening. We were going to record quite a bit earlier, and then we had to go pick up a treadmill for my wife. And Devin used to sell fitness equipment, so he knows a lot about it. So he helped me build it as well. So that was very helpful. Built it, put it in the car. Well, in the other order. Went and got it, put it in the car, got it home, built it. It's all set up and ready. So that was nice. Because of that, it's like really late and I'm kind of tired. So this will probably be a shorter.
So the ending segment, we're going to do the.
Yeah, exactly. This will be a shorter episode. We'll still go through some of our main, our main segments, but not too much going on other than that. And then, we hit In and Out. Devin, what is your classic order?
I mean, typically what we've done is 2 double doubles with grilled onions, and I added a fry tonight, and I noticed on their menu they have milk.
It was only 99 cents.
99 cents.
We should have got some. Just to try it.
That's what I'm saying, is I feel like their milk has got to be special in some way.
It's crazy. Milk is 99 cents, but the soda, like 210 or whatever.
And worse for you.
Way worse. And soda, as I'm drinking one, is just like water and syrup. Whereas milk actually had to come from a cow. Has some protein and stuff in it,
Yeah.
What am I
doing?
saw
goat milk at the store the other day.
Yep.
And I thought about it. Then I started getting weirded out thinking about the goat. I was like, I don't want to drink that.
Yeah.
And so I didn't get it. Also, it was like $5 for a pint.
Yeah, kind of pricey.
Oh, the goat's trying to rip us off.
They're the new cow, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we need to try the In-N-Out milk. Maybe that'll be the thing we can report on next week. How is the In-N-Out milk? Also got a couple new things up on the wall, which is kind of fun. I reorganized the board game shelf a little bit. You can see Andromeda's Edge up there above Devin's head and a couple new games out. And I got a new toy. We'll talk about it a little later in the episode, but you can see it behind Devin's head if you're watching on video. If not, I'll just tell you it goes on your face and has some controllers you hold. So, little audio spoiler for later. Also got a Mega Man picture up, and my cousin made me this cool Mario picture. Couldn't quite get it in frame, but you can kind of see Mario's hand. Little Lakitu up there in his cloud. He's going to throw some spinies at you any second.
How did you know his name was Lakitu? That's Cloudman.
Cloudman. Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure it's Lakitu.
It's Mega Man and Cloudman.
Oh, right. Yeah. Mega Man, Cloudman. I don't know how I know that.
I don't either. He retains information. I'm just here. I don't know.
We got Cloudman, Mega Man, and Jumpman all right there. If we're going
Jumpman.
I think that was Mario's original
that song?
name. Oh, yeah, I know that song.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Well, Mega Man's original name was Rockman.
It was.
And now, can you remember his sister's name?
Roll?
What's her last name? Another word for a coffin.
Roll box?
Roll treadmill box?
Yeah.
Roll casket. She has two names, though.
Wow.
I don't remember her second name, but she's got another name for no reason.
Like a middle name.
Yeah, I think maybe we should each give ourselves a second name.
Ah, yeah, that does sound nice.
I'll be Unknown Man.
There you go.
What are you going to be?
If I wanted a new name, I'd be a Spaceman Spiff Man. Because that kind of Spaceman Spiff, really like that title for that's my PSN title and a few other places. But if I did Spaceman Spiff Man, then we're keeping up with the Cloud Man, Mega Man, Jump Man.
I'll be Ocean Man, Spiff Man.
Ocean Man, Spiff Man? I don't know what we're talking about. Yeah. All right. Well, this is the Super Game Brothers podcast we do every week, even if we're a couple days late because it was a holiday. We don't miss weeks, as attested by this recording. This is week number 35. We're coming up on it's going to be a year in April or May or whenever that is, which is kind of bonkers, but fun stuff. Yeah, like I said, we do it every single week. You can get the podcast 3 days early over on patreon.com/supergamebrothers for just a couple of dollars a month. You can also follow that Patreon completely for free, so please check us out and follow us over there. You can write into the show. We'll answer your questions live on the air. You won't hear them for a couple days after we answer them live on the air, but hey, we'll answer them. What else do you get over there? Get the podcast early. You can write into the show, get your name in the credits. You can vote on the games and stuff we cover next. Yeah, all kinds of fun stuff over there. Also helps support the channel. We don't do any kind of paid previews or opinion-related content from video game or board game publishers, so really helps us if you can support independent content like us over there. Also, just by watching this video, liking it, writing a review, commenting also helps us as well. So really appreciate you listening, and that is the intro plug here before we get going. All right, Devin, we're going to jump right into the news mini nuke, which is usually game announcements, new games to subscription services, and then we jump into what we've been playing and some other segments before we do crowdfunding corner and end with a fun segment. Today, there's not really any game announcements. Again, in December, right before the Game Awards, which I think are on the 14th, which is my wife's birthday. Maybe they're on the 12th, which would be better for me to be able to watch them. So, anyways, they're next Thursday. Not this coming Thursday, next Thursday. There will be some announcements there, but there really aren't any right now in this black hole before then. So we're going to jump right to new games, to subscription services. We're going to go over to the computer screen And what do we see here? We don't see it quite yet. We see Board Game Geek, but if I open this tab Devin just threw over there, we can see Sony's new games to subscription services this month. So this is PlayStation Plus for the month of December, and these should go up on the 3rd, which is Tuesday, if I am remembering correctly. It doesn't say here, but you can see the 3 games on the Essential tier are It Takes Two, which is an excellent game I've been thinking about buying forever, so kind of excited to have that one. Aliens Dark Descent, which is we'll see that one again in a minute, but it's kind of like what is that game called? It's a tactical, like top-down game. Kind of reminds me of there's one with other aliens. It's not called SOCOM. It's called what is it called? It's gonna come to me.
Did I play it on stream for a second?
I don't think
Is it kind of horror based? No.
It's a very, very popular game in that genre, and it's just the name is escaping me. We'll find it in a sec. And then Temtem, which is basically like a Pokemon-like. Those are all free or included with your PlayStation Plus Essential subscription for the month of December. So It Takes Two on PlayStation 4 and 5. You've got Aliens Dark Descent. XCOM is the game I was thinking of. I think this is similar to something like XCOM on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. And then Temtem is only on PlayStation 5. I feel like that game was big for a minute, but then the one Pal World came out that's like Pokemon, but all of the characters have guns. And that one's been like the most popular.
It's so interesting. There's a lot of people who make games with this exact art style that look just like Pokemon and a ton of different characters.
Yeah. Everyone wants that Pokemon money.
Yeah.
If you can make a collectible card game where kids have to pay $4 a pack and they get 11 cards and 9 of them are going to be trash. It's basically the loot box of the 1990s.
Oh yeah, I pulled a water energy card the other day.
Oh heck yeah,
dude! I instantly put it in a sleeve and I hung it up on the wall. And it's like
you sent it to get graded.
Dude, I've already had 2 people try to steal it.
All right. Other than that, there are a few. I feel like there were. Where are the other games? There were a few games. Oh, here we go. Nope, that's not what I'm looking for. There are also new games included on PlayStation Plus Premium. Did I put that link in here?
Let's see.
Oh, maybe I didn't.
No, it doesn't say premium, premium trials.
I feel like I missed something here. We'll click around for a second. Because I am fairly confident.
Did we change scenes?
Pretty sure.
Yes, we did. Nice.
We did. Look at us. Killing it here. Man, I swear it said that there were new games coming to premium. Maybe I'm remembering last week. I'm going crazy. Anyways, those are the 3 new games to PlayStation Plus Essential. There are also a couple new games to Xbox Game Pass. And those games are, one of them is going to sound very familiar. And for some reason, the Xbox Wire did not have an article. So we're here on Pure Xbox. They're a good Xbox website. Aliens Dark Descent is also free on Game Pass, which is very random. And then the next one, in my opinion, is a huge get. 9 Souls just came out on Xbox and PlayStation this week.
That just launched on Game Pass?
It did, launched into Game Pass.
Wow.
It's a $30 Metroidvania game that's supposed to be excellent. It's basically reviewing as like the best Metroidvania game since Hollow Knight. So I am uber pumped to play it. And I'm like, man, do I just sign up for another Game Pass?
Well, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, anyone listening, most of you can probably get a trial to Game Pass in some way.
Yeah.
For like $1 or less. That's crazy.
I'm probably still going to buy it, which makes me such a sucker. But I want to play it on PlayStation. I want the trophies. don't be like me. Get it on Game Pass because that's really awesome. Huge get. So those are the 2 new games. They should already be available because they were available last week. All right. Then Nintendo has a couple new things. They, I think they are both updates for the Game Boy collection that is included in Nintendo Switch Online. This first one, well, actually, both of these games are super loved by me. They're the Game Boy versions of Donkey Kong Country. So it's Donkey Kong Land and Donkey Kong, well, and spoilers, the second one that they announced a couple days later is Donkey Kong Land 2. And while these are not as good as Donkey Kong Country on the Super Nintendo, they're actually pretty competent for, having run on a tiny Game Boy that came out in 1980 something, which is crazy. So there's that first one. And then everyone was like, well, where are the other ones? And then just a couple days later, Nintendo released another update saying, okay, fine, here's a number 2 as well. That was probably the plan the whole time. They didn't actually say, okay, fine. But man, I love this one. And you can hear the music here. Has that awesome Donkey Kong Country 2
it's so good
music but running on like a Game Boy sound chip instead of a Super Nintendo one. So it's a little like lower quality, but man, still great. And I'm keeping that really low so we don't get a copyright strike. But anyways, also an update to what do they call it? The expansion pack for Nintendo Switch Online. This is the Genesis app. It is a little annoying to me that they have different apps for everything. They have a Game Boy app, a Nintendo app, a Super Nintendo app. This Genesis app is only included in the expansion pack. They make it very convoluted over there. But there's 3 new games coming to that. Toe Jam and Earl, which was a big deal back in the day. The second one is called Vector Man. Kind of like I don't even know. Like an action platformer. Your dude can like shoot stuff out of his hand, kind of Mega Man like, but he's also, I don't know, kind of looks like Knack in like the way that all of his body parts are kind of orbiting each other. I've heard of both of those. I have not heard of this third one, but maybe you have if you had a Genesis in the 90s. It's called Wolf of the Battlefield Mercs. So kind of looks like Contra, but instead of being side-scrolling, it's like also up and down, kind of top-down Contra. But anyway, so those are on the Genesis app, included in the expansion pack that you can buy separately and add on to Nintendo Switch Online, just to confuse us all.
We've got one from Epic Games. I almost downloaded this yesterday.
Oh, did you?
As I was waiting for the Fortnite chapter to release after maintenance, I saw it. I was scrolling Epic and almost downloaded it because it looked funny. Kind of reminded me of Enter the Gungeon and Vampire Survivors in a way.
Yeah.
I know nothing about the gameplay. It's just what it looked like.
It's supposed to be pretty well loved. It's called Bro-tato. And you play as this potato with guns. It reminds me of those games that you said, but also reminds me of like my memory is terrible.
Meat Boy.
Super Meat Boy a little bit with the art style, but I'm thinking of the one where you're the little kid, The Binding of Isaac.
Oh, right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I've at least seen it.
Yeah, very odd game, but yeah, kind of reminds me of that. Also, yeah, like you said, very much reminds me of Vampire Survivors. It says it's a top-down arena shooter roguelite where you play a potato wielding up to 6 weapons at a time. The 6 weapons at a time thing, very much Vampire Survivors.
Yeah, identical.
So I don't know, I might try it. Free, add it to your Epic Game Store library. I have heard good things. It's got a 4.7 here on Epic, so there you go. It looks like it has co-op as well. I think, yeah, local multiplayer, it says. So that is, I think there's one more set here. Or was that all of the free games?
That is all of the free games.
That's right, because Prime hasn't announced their December stuff yet. All right, for what we've been playing, I've got a couple games. I feel like did I talk about this one last week?
You did, yes.
Okay. Just really quickly, I'm almost done with a ranger. I think I've been doing. There's like some optional content in each area you go to that are like some more difficult puzzles. And I've been finishing all of those before I go to what I think is the last area. Really, really like this game. The puzzles are never so hard that you like want to punch the screen, which is good. Um, because I feel like I'm not great at slide puzzles like in person, like an actual one that I'm holding in my hand, you know. But it works in this so well, and the puzzles are never. They're not easy. I feel like there's quite a bit of challenge, but it's like the right amount. I think they strike it really well. Art's beautiful. I've already talked about this game a bunch. Can't recommend it enough if you like puzzle games. I've probably played 7 or 8 hours. So I'm excited to see how it ends. It keeps introducing like new cool things. Like that area it just showed was this character that moves every time you move and he kind of blocks your path. There was another boss fight. I haven't even seen that spot yet, so I don't know. There's all kinds of cool stuff. Really like Arranger. It's like a cool indie game made by a tiny little company. What else do I have written down here, Devin? I think I guess other than Vampire Survivors, which we'll talk about in a minute probably. The other thing, I just want to give a shout out to PlayStation VR 2. I picked one of those up on the Black Friday sale, and man, it's really cool. It's they're expensive as all get out, $550, but it was $200 off. And I was like, man, I've wanted one for a while. Something I can talk about on the podcast anyways. And I was looking through my PlayStation library and I was like, wow, I already have like 25 games because it's been a couple years and through PlayStation Plus or whatever, some of them have become available. So I was like, okay, maybe it's time. I haven't gotten very far into exploring that library yet. I have about 10 VR games in my cart right now for the Black Friday sale that I'm trying to decide which ones to get. So the 3 that I have played so far: Walkabout Mini Golf, I think is what it's called. Really fun. It's basically just mini golf. You look down at your ball and you can, mini golf around. Has a bunch of different courses and stuff. Very simple, but it works surprisingly well. Beat Saber is super awesome. I played the crap out of that on. I have the original PSVR. That's one of my wife's very favorite games. So we've played that a lot as well. It is better on the second version. The tracking is just better. It's also really nice that the new headset has cameras on it to do the tracking instead of having to have a camera set up out in front of you to track like the lights on those balls.
That's probably the biggest difference.
Yeah, it tracks a lot better.
Yeah, it was super cool.
And it means you can like be turned around backwards and the headset's still tracking. Whereas on PSVR 1, if you ever got like turned too far, it's like, I can't see you, bro. So Beat Saber, super awesome. And then another very, very popular one when it comes to VR, but I had not tried it yet. So is Pistol Whip here. And man, I can't get over how cool this one is. It basically reminds me of Guitar Hero. You like move straight forward along this like kind of path. Kind of reminds me of like the guitar, like a fretboard on Guitar Hero that you're moving down. It doesn't look exactly like that, but you're moving straight down a path, and then there will be a song going on, and then all of these enemies will come out and try and shoot at you, and you're trying to shoot at them, and you get bonus points for firing on the beat with the song. And you can't get hit by the bullets. If you get hit, then there's like a time frame where if you get hit again, you lose the song until you get a number of successful hits. And man, just feels awesome. Reminds me of Super Hot, which is another great VR game, but more kind of musically inclined. Just excellent. I think we'll talk a lot more about VR2, PSVR 2 as I'm able to play more of the games, and I've really only played those 3 at this point. But Pistol Whip, man, it just is so good. Feels so cool. It's like John Wick in a VR. Just love it. Devin, I had you play a couple of those. What were your thoughts on the
Pistol whip was fun, but it was exhausting.
It really
I
is.
was dodging the bullets. I fell over one time.
Yeah.
But man, I felt so cool.
Yeah. It takes a minute to get used to because like the first song or two you play, you're going to be like all over the place and like I'm not getting the vibe. After you play a few, you kind of get into like a flow and you're like, okay, I understand the beat of this song and like how fast I need to move. And you can kind of like, I don't even know. You get smoother. You're like, okay, I realize I can move less than I was trying too hard before.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. I guess it rewards you for shooting a less amount of bullets and on the beat. And I was shooting all the bullets with no beat. But way fun. I think the VR2, it definitely is an upgrade. It was cool to set up. He had me set up the entire thing as if it was new out of the box.
Yeah.
All the settings, building our play space. It would alert me if I was getting close to the edge.
That is a really cool feature.
It was.
Builds, you can see through the cameras on it out like into your room and it like builds a virtual arena. And anytime you get close, it kind of warns you even in the game. So you know you're not going to run into your TV or something.
Exactly. I always felt like I was in the safe area. Mm-hmm. And if you don't, you can always look down and most of the games have a spot on the ground where is basically the center.
Yeah.
And you can kind of shimmy your way back if you're getting off balance. Super cool though. I'm excited to see what they do with VR.
Yeah, I am too. It's a cool headset. It's definitely clearer and nicer. I think it's 4K in each eye. It's hard. It's like beautiful in 4K, but it's like sitting an inch away from a 4K screen. So I feel like you can still kind of tell. Like it's not perfectly crisp. I hope that if Sony does a VR3, they can get it at like 8K. Because then even at like an inch away from it, it would still look like a 4K screen does when you're 10 feet from it. But still looks great. I like that you can adjust the interpupillary distance, like the distance between the lenses, because then I've even been able to let my kids try, push it like really close. And it just helps kind of clear it up for people that have wider eyes. So very cool. Cool features. Excited to explore that some more. That's the newest toy in this Bailey household. And other than that, just been playing, like we mentioned at the top of the episode, I've been playing a ton more Vampire Survivors. I think I mentioned last week, as we get a ad for ad block, that I bought every expansion for this game. There's only like 4 or 5, and they're like a couple bucks each, so it wasn't really a big deal. But just trying to unlock every character, find every secret level. And man, there's surprisingly so much content in this game. I've played it for, I think, 45 hours at this point, is what my PlayStation is telling me.
For a $5 game, that is fantastic.
It really is. And like everyone I've ever played it with loves it. My kids love it. My wife even likes playing it. You can play it with one hand. It's just so weird. Like I haven't played any game like it ever before.
Yeah, it just keeps you around because its progression system is pretty well done. You get lost sometimes, and that's what Google's for.
Yeah.
But there's always something more to do, which is crazy.
Yeah, and there's like lots of different ways to beat levels and secret endings at times, and like, okay, you need to play this level with this character, which again can be sometimes hard to even know what to do next. You always feel like you're making some progress. Even if it's just like, okay, this run, I don't think I'm making like story progress, but I'm going to work on this next evolution. Or in the DLC content, there's actually not just evolutions. There's things called unions, which is basically weapons that don't get evolved. They just get better if you get all of them together. Like one of the unions is that a spell stream that you have to have all 3 of those weapons. And I did end up unioning, whatever the word is, that weapon. You have to upgrade all 3 of them, I think, to level 6. And then they morph into one weapon. So then it frees up 2 of your slots again.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty cool. And there are other weapons that require a union as well. So just new stuff. I know the developer of this game tweeted this week that they have new exciting plans for Vampire Survivors in 2025. So man, just can't get enough. Super, super great. Everyone should really try this game. And for $5, I promise you're not wasting your money. Like,
I agree.
unless you like hate pixel art and like hate Castlevania, or I don't even know.
If you hate fun, you should not play this game.
There you go.
No, it's super good.
Yeah, super great. I think that's all I've been playing as far as video games are concerned. Devin, do you have any others that you've been playing?
I've played Vampire Survivors a little bit, not as much as I was. We got pretty stuck, but a decent amount. Tried the PSVR 2 over here, which you covered, and super fun. I played a little bit of Clash Royale, Rocket League, still getting good at that game.
Yeah, you've been really ranking up.
Yeah,
the last little bit, it sounds like.
Pretty high tier in that game now. And
that's cool.
I don't know if I'm proud of it or not, but maybe.
Hey, you should be.
And then the only other thing that I've tried is I tried 3 rounds of the new season of Fortnite.
Oh, yeah.
Which seems fun. There's a lot of weird things going on. When they release a new map and areas you've never seen, and there's little sprites now, these little creatures that run away from you, you can pick them up, take them to a shrine, or you can throw them on the ground, and they like have an ability like this sprite will heal you. This sprite will turn into a launch pad and send you into the air.
What do they look like? They look like the little things on Kenna?
Yeah, kind of. He's
kind of ball dude.
Yeah, it's just cute. A lot of weird masks. You can teleport now. There's invisibility things. I don't know. I don't know too much. Only played a few rounds. So tried that out.
It is crazy the staying power that game has.
Oh, man.
It is still huge. And it's been a long time. I remember playing it before we moved into this house.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, that'll be 5 years in like 3 weeks.
Crazy.
So it's probably been out 6 or 7 years. That's nuts.
I was thinking about how many people's lives are probably affected every time they have to go down for maintenance.
Oh, probably a lot, yeah.
It's like, oh, I actually have to go to bed?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. Yeah, other than that, nothing for me.
Okay. Hey, that was a pretty good list. I'm proud of us.
Yeah, look at us go.
Even on a week with a holiday, playing a ton of games. So that's why they call us the Super Game Brothers.
It's crazy. We're just getting it done.
All right. As far as board games, Devin, I was only able to play one this week. So maybe I'm slacking at least in half of my game playing time here. But Vampire Survivors has just taken over too much. But I played a new game. I got just a few months. I won't even say that long. A few weeks ago, it was on sale on Amazon. And so I was like, I've been wanting to pull the trigger on it for a while, but it was kind of pricey. Got it for like half price. This game is called Tiwanaku. Weird name, but what a cool game. In this game, you are trying to get the most points, and you get that by discovering the land and what type of crop that like this deity, godlike figure wants to be planted on the land. This deity like gives you the truth through this fancy dial here, which is a really cool mechanism. This is a deduction game. Kind of reminds me of, if you haven't played a deduction board game, those things you had in elementary school where like Bob was at Sam's house. Sam is Chelsea's brother, but doesn't like ketchup. And you have to fill out like that grid of like to deduce like who did what and whatever. That is what this game is. And this dial has all of the answers on it. I think it comes with 20 different like game states that you can slot in. So we just played one of them. And then there are 2 different windows on the dial. And based on what you're doing on your turn, you either discover new land and open the left window, or you make a guess on as to what crop type goes on that land, and you open the right window to see if you're right. If you were right, then you get a number of points. But if you are wrong, you lose that number of points. So that's the more risky thing to do on your turn. And I really like deduction games, but sometimes they can be a little too obtuse. I like that you can't really mess this one up because the dial has all the answers on it. It's not like I used to have a different one called Cryptid, and it was really cool, but we played it a couple of times, and both times other players made a logic mistake where they were supposed to like tell the table something, and they told the table something wrong, and
it's like Clue.
Yeah, and it threw everyone off, and we had like a bad experience.
Interesting.
But since this one is all on the dial, and all you're doing is you're looking at the board to like determine, okay, I know that this type of land has to be here or here, and basically there are, I think, 4 different types of land. They're like green, blue, yellow, and orange. And then on each grouping, let's see if I can find a better picture here. I cannot. Oh, here we go. So this grouping here is 4. Oh, sorry, it's 5 of those green bottom grass looking pieces. And so in that grouping, you can't see my cursor on the podcast, but Devin can. There can only be 1 of each crop type. So there's going to be a crop that's called the number 1 crop. I think it's like sweet potatoes or whatever. So there's going to be 1 number 1, 1 number 2, 1 number 3, 1 number 4, 1 number 5. If this grouping here, for example, is only a grouping of 3 blue ones, there's only going to be a 1, 2, and a 3. There won't be a 4 or a 5. You don't know where the 1, 2, or 3 will be, but there can only be a 1, 2, or 3 if that land grouping is 3. There are a couple other rules, like this blue can never be next to another blue, not even diagonally. So if this is here, I know that none of these can be blue, for example. 5 is the biggest grouping size. These crop tiles can also not be next to one of the same size, even diagonally. So since this 5 is here, I know none of these could be 5. So it's like 2 layers of deduction. I'm deducing.
Like Sudoku.
It is kind of like Sudoku in that way. But man, really, really fun. I played it with my wife and our 2 friends, and all 4 of us really enjoyed it. Very, very fun. And I like a deduction game when, I mean, it was like an hour. It was like a good length. And you couldn't mess up. You open the window and it tells you right there in the window, like, this is crop number 5. There's not really messing that up.
Yeah.
I mean, you could, in theory, mess up the dial, but let me see if I can show you a bigger picture of the dial. And you can kind of see here on the board that the columns and the rows each have a symbol on them. And so if you're making a guess, about one single square. And that square has like a cross section of, it might be the campfire and the snake. And so then on the dial, you move the bottom like a piece to the snake and the top piece to the campfire. And then you open the window so that the thing inside is pointed at the perfect spot. A lot harder to mess up than like if I'm supposed to be keeping something secret and I need to, like, on my own board. The dial helps keep everything flowing. Really great. I'm excited to play it some more. I think it's an excellent deduction game if you like deduction. I hope that I don't know, I felt really good at it. I really like deduction puzzles, so I crushed everyone basically.
Oh, heck, yeah, you were dialed in.
I felt like it might be a little too easy at times. Like, I made a couple guesses and the other people at the table were like, David, how did you guess that? And I was like, well, if you look at this crop like 7 spaces away, because this is a 2, I know there can't be a 2 surrounding, and because of that, there has to be a 1 here. I feel like somebody who's really good at it will just always be really good at it and crush everyone. So I hope that that is not always the case. That's kind of what you want with a deduction game, but I want there to be enough variability, kind of, that other people could stand a chance, even if deduction isn't fully their thing. So that's my one hang up at this point, is
you get sick of winning.
Not even that. I just like, will other people want to play if they know that the person they mainly play this game with is just better at deduction than them? Maybe they need to get good. Yeah. You know? Anyways, I definitely recommend Tiwanaku, and it's been on sale a couple times in the last few months, so you might be able to find it for like $20. I think is what I got it for. So very highly recommend this game. I think Cryptid is rated higher on Board Game Geek, but I enjoyed this one more for whatever reason. So That was the board game I was able to play this week. And Devin, that's going to do it for the games that we were able to play this week. For games we're excited about, we've already kind of covered this one, but it is by far the video game that I'm the most excited to play. And it is Nine Souls. Again, we already mentioned it's on Game Pass. If you have Game Pass, definitely play it. It's been getting ultra great reviews, super pretty art. It's supposed to be the best Metroidvania game since Hollow Knight. No, that's very subjective, but that's kind of the consensus. And I don't know if Silksong is ever coming out. It also has like a Sekiro like parry system.
Amazing.
It's supposed to be pretty tough, have tough boss fights and stuff. All of that sounds right up my alley. So I'm
and it just looks so cool.
Yeah, the artwork is amazing. So I think it was made in Taiwan, is what I read. So very cool. I like it when games come from like a new team or a new country or something. It was kind of half of the excitement for what was that called? Black Myth Wukong was like, hey, there's a game out of China that looks amazing. And kind of similar idea here. I'm uber pumped about this one. If I don't decide to get a new month of Game Pass to play it, I'm probably just going to buy it on my PlayStation.
What are the odds this came out of Taiwan when the only board game you played this week was Tiwanaku?
Tiwanaku, Taiwan, Nine Souls.
Taiwan.
Yeah, that's a look at us.
Very weird.
Yeah.
I would say that's the game I'm excited for as well.
Yeah, as far as video games, definitely.
Or maybe this Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Rewind.
Oh yeah, we looked at that one a few weeks ago, actually.
Yeah, we did.
Does look kind of fun. As far as board games are concerned, I have a few that will be delivering soon. I'm very pumped about them. As for ones that have already delivered, let me go back down to the table real quick and show you that one. I've got a new game here. I'm reaching real far. This is a new 2-player card game from John Cloudis, who makes really great 2-player card games. This is called Pariahs. And I haven't even read the rulebook yet, but, well, not the whole thing. I've skimmed it. There's a card game where I think the kind of selling point was it's a worker placement game and an area control game and a deck building game, but you do all of those things with cards. So you'll be putting cards at different locations. You're trying to like convert cards from your opponent's deck to grow your deck, all in the name of becoming the next leader of this government. It's supposed to be excellent. Very excited to play that one, but haven't gotten around to it quite yet. I do appreciate this company is owned by John Cloudis. It's Small Box Games, and you can tell they're like an indie company made by just probably him and the artist, I think, is all that worked on this game. And you can tell kind of by the box, it's like just a little cardboard. I mean, all the boxes are cardboard, but there's no like fancy finish. Doesn't look like it was. I like the indie touch, is what I'm saying. But anyways, very excited to try Pariahs. Cool little box.
Yeah, it looks cool.
That's probably the next board game I'm most excited to try, but I have about a dozen delivering in the next week or two. So, all right, Devin, for the news, there's not a lot. Just a few things. We'll go back to the computer screen here for a minute. This was the biggest and, most a little bit sad in David's eyes, but well-deserved. Devin, do you know this guy? Have you ever seen him before?
That's Shuhei Yoshida.
Yeah, it is Shuhei Yoshida. Yeah, good job.
It's crazy.
Had you ever heard that name or seen him before in your life?
No.
Okay, that's okay. He's I'm much more like into like Sony and PlayStation behind the scenes and like the business stuff than Devin is, so that makes sense.
No, for sure.
He has been at PlayStation for 31 years, since like the very beginning. I think he worked, if I remember correctly, like with Naughty Dog and stuff on some of their very earliest games. He did a podcast episode with the official PlayStation podcast, basically announced that he will be stepping away from PlayStation, I think on January 15th, after 31 years. sounded like he was kind of retiring. He might have like some other passion projects or little things he's doing. For about a decade, I think during the PlayStation 4 era, he was the head of PlayStation Studios. So he was in charge of Naughty Dog and Insomniac and all like 14 of PlayStation's teams, making sure that they're hitting deadlines, getting games out. He was the guy. So he was a big deal at PlayStation for a long time. Super funny, speaks really great English. He's an awesome, awesome dude. So it'll be sad to see him go. For the last like 5-ish years, he's kind of stepped down from, and we don't know if he was like stepped down or kind of replaced by the new guy, but he wasn't the head of worldwide studios anymore. He was the head of indies, which again is like right up my alley. He loves little indie games. I follow him on Twitter, and he's always tweeting about like the new indie he's most obsessed with. He's one of the reasons I'm really pumped about Nine Souls. He tweeted about it just a couple days ago and said like, this game's amazing. I'm so excited I was able to help bring it to PlayStation, something like that. So anyways, wanted to give Shuhei a shout out. I really like that guy. I have good memories of like watching E3 and other like what was that PlayStation experience and stuff, and seeing Shuhei and some of the other people there. So kind of the end of an era with him retiring. But shout out to Shuhei. That's probably the biggest news item this week, Devin. Other than that, there's a couple of like rumors going around that there's going to be a new God of War announcement, maybe at the Game Awards. There was a mild confirmation that Troy Baker is going to be in the next Naughty Dog game, which makes sense. He's Joel in The Last of Us. He's in like Death Stranding, and he's been in a Call of Duty game. He's in like everything, basically. So I didn't think that was like super noteworthy, but and I think the last thing I thought was just kind of funny. The Nintendo Switch has sold like 145 million copies, or copies isn't the right word, units. And so it was getting dangerously close to passing the PlayStation 2 as the number one selling console of all time. Because I think the last official number that Sony ever gave was 150 million. But as it started to get closer, just like this last week, they said, oh, just by the way, the PlayStation 2 has actually sold 160 million. Which is probably true, but they've just been kind of holding on to that data. So we'll see if the Switch does pass it, or the PS2 or not. It very well could still. But anyways, I thought it was kind of funny. They really want the PlayStation 2 to still be the top seller.
I also find that cool for some reason.
Yeah.
What a goated console.
Yeah, and that's the only PlayStation console I didn't have, which is a bummer. But I don't know if it really was a bummer. I'm really glad I had an Xbox during that period, because I got really into like Oddworld. I don't know that I really would have gotten into Oddworld and Halo and Splinter Cell, and Prince of Persia, and some of those games that were much more aligned with Xbox. But I don't know. Yeah, the PlayStation 2, I think it was mostly big because I can't remember exactly how much they cost. It was like $200 or $250, and it was also a DVD player. And at that price, it was cheaper than just a DVD player. And
DVD players used to be expensive.
They were way expensive. Huh? So a lot of people bought that as like their DVD player, and if they ever played a game, then hooray, they had a PS2.
That's got to play a big part as to why they sold so many. Yeah,
I think it did. I think they were hoping that the same thing would happen with the PlayStation 3 because it was a Blu-ray player, and I don't think the Xbox 360 could play Blu-rays. But the PlayStation 3 kind of had a lot of other negative things going on with it, with the $600 price point and stuff, which is a lot back in 2006 or whatever it was when that came out. But anyways, Devin, I think that is it for the news this week. So that is going to take us right into crowdfunding corner for the week of, and this was supposed to go up on November 29th, but it's going to go up on December 2nd. So sorry for the delay there. But in crowdfunding corner, we go over,
on the bright side, the 36th episode.
Oh yeah,
will be much closer after you listen to the 35th.
There you go. You know, there's always
glass half full.
Yeah, love it.
Oh yeah.
Got the what do they say about the clouds? You got the silver lining.
Cloudman.
Cloudman, exactly. Yep. But yeah, we look at games in crowdfunding, so they might be on Kickstarter or GameFound, or very rarely, but occasionally on places like BackerKit or things like that, that whose campaigns are ending in like the next week or two. Can't cover all of them. There are so many games in crowdfunding nowadays, so they're really just games that look cool to me. If there are any games I missed, sorry. Let me know in the comments, because I'd love to look at some that I missed as well. There's just so many. But there are, I think, are 7 maybe cool ones here that I thought looked great. This first one is called Sea Beasts, and it's got a lot of backers, raising a lot of money, over $500,000 and 4,000 backers. This is a cooperative, what do they call that? Boss battler game, where you play as Vikings on your own like Viking ship, and you're trying to, I think, like protect your treasure, your hoard, from these smaller like enemies, and then these like huge sea beasts, hence the name of the game. So you'll have your own player board. You'll be doing a lot of attacking. As you can see on the player boards, there's like, blood droplets, and you're doing damage. I think it says here you'll be using that damage to unleash your blood rage, to conquer the horrors of the deep and prove your legacy. I am not like a huge dungeon crawler fan. Never played one that I've loved, but this one looks kind of cool. I like the like kind of Viking on the open like sea vibe, because that is like a terrifying thing to me. Scary, scary. The ocean is a terrible place that humans shouldn't go, in my opinion. But I'm glad there are braver people that do. I guess.
Agree.
But cool ideas. You got like the cool wooden Viking meeples, and then the big, huge beast minis. Kind of looks like it has a fun system where you're controlling your like cargo on your ship as well. And yeah, I like the art style, like the crazy creatures. If you really wanted to get into like the miniatures and stuff, you can buy like the uber expensive version that has crazy big pieces for all of those big bosses. The base game comes meant to be played solo or as 2-player cooperative. And it's actually not a terrible price, $50. Has some cool dice. And I think that base set, if I remember correctly, I don't know if it even has any minis in it. Does it? Let's look here. It has meeples, beast tokens. Yeah, it doesn't have minis, it doesn't look like. So only the more expensive tiers have the big minis, but I'm sure it has tokens for those beasts. Yeah, you can see them here. And then you can get some other expansions that will add the ability to play with 3, 4, 5, or 6 players, even extra characters, extra beasts, extra stuff. And then you can get the miniatures as well in some of the pledges. I do want to at least show you what some of those look like, because they do look very cool. So where is pledge levels, maybe? No, I feel like that's where, oh, here we go. So you've got the basic pledge. It does have cool dice. Yeah, cool stuff. Here's the heroic pledge. Those are some really cool looking minis, and they're very big. Cool trays, cool dice. So if that is your thing, you like boss battler games, I think this one might be a hit for you. So that is Sea Beasts. It ends pretty soon, actually. This one ends in 3 days on Thursday, December 5th. Here on Kickstarter. Next up is, well, I think it's a really unique looking game, one called Tatsumi by Adams Apple Games. In this one, you play as like this dragon, and you move along kind of this board, and it's kind of a, what do they call that? My mind is totally blanking on the type of abstract, sorry, there it was, game, in that you're moving around this board. You can't go through the other players' dragons. You're kind of moving around each other. Dragons are big, they said, so you can't like move through each other. and you're collecting these rings on this board. Cool thing about the board is transparent. So you can see the different levels of rings. So you know, like, okay, if he takes that, then there's going to be a red there next up. And you're trying to collect these different rings, and then you take them back to your own player board, and you're trying to like build them out in big groupings to get lots of points. You can play as one of, I think, 4, and there might be a 5th or 6th that get unlocked through stretch goals. Different dragons that have like their own goal, and you can play with the symmetric or the back asymmetric side of the player boards, where each player kind of has slightly different goals and restrictions on what like rings they can put there. Very cool. I like it when a game has something unique, and that transparent kind of box insert that houses the entire game and makes the setup really easy, because that's also how you put it away. You just
amazing.
They say it actually helps with randomizing the next time you play. If after you're done, you just kind of randomly throw all the discs back in.
What a cool system.
Very cool. So I thought that was worth shouting out. I want to finish reading the rule book just to see if I think the gameplay has enough legs. But I think it's a very cool and unique starting point. They have 2 pledges. The base pledge is $40. The shipping in America, I think, was $7, which is really not bad for a crowdfunding campaign. That version, the dragons aren't screen printed on. They're still wooden and like big chunky pieces. And then the extra tokens in that version are cardboard. Whereas in the $55 version, which would be $62 with shipping in America, are screen printed on the dragons and the rings, which does look cool. But I'm like, is it worth $15 more? But then the other perk is that, whereas in the box here, these pieces that are like different seashell scales, sand dollars, these are wooden pieces in the limited edition, whereas they're cardboard in the lesser version. So I think it's cool they have both. $40 plus $7 for shipping. That's not a bad price for a pretty unique looking game. So that is Tatsumi. That one's on GameFound. I think it was made by the same people that did, brought to you by the creators of Planet Unknown, which was uber popular a couple of years ago. So they've got some game development prowess as well. This one ends on, what do you say here? On the 6th. So that should be Friday. That is Tatsumi. Next up is a much smaller looking indie one called Runes. Also kind of an abstract feeling game, in my opinion, but I think it looks pretty cool. In this one, you're going to have these tokens that are these hexagon-shaped pieces, and they have different runes around the 6 sides of those tiles, and you're trying to set them out to match with the tiles next to them. And the more, when you place a tile down, for each rune that matches up, you get to put that number of your discs in the center, those like blue and green and red transparent discs there in the middle. And I think it's the first player that gets rid of all of their discs wins. And so you're trying to set up a ton of connections in order to have big turns where you can do that. If you I can't remember exactly how, but there are some cards you can get that will let you adjust some things. And you can even, I think, force a different player to take their, what are those called? Little discs back. If you place a tile on top of a tile that's already been put down, but you can only do that if the tile that you place has more connections than the tile that was there.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I was thinking I would have this perfect tile and someone would take the spot I was going to play.
Right.
But if you can put it on top, that's interesting.
Yeah, and then you make them take their 3 tokens back or whatever. I think that is the coolest part of the game, because without that being able to like stack on top, it seemed a little basic.
And I like the idea of cards, because I imagine if you have a hexagon that has a a ton of matches, but maybe one or two things is off. Maybe the cards allow you to make those correct in some way, or are the cards giving you a benefit? Are they changing like a symbol for you?
Okay. Yeah, let's see. If you place a golden rune, then you get to put out double the coins that turn. If you place a black rune, you get to draw a powerful ritual card. And it looks like they'll let you place additional coins or skip somebody's turn, maybe. A little hard to see with this animated GIF. Exchange hand. So they'll do like some special kind of game breaking stuff, it looks like. So I don't know. I thought that when I was first looking at it, I was like, it seems a little basic, but I really like the idea of being able to go on top and giving, and that it's just a race. Who can get rid of all their discs first?
Yeah.
Because in an abstract game like this, sometimes there will be like, you keep track of points. Like, okay, I placed this here and I got 5 points, and you got to move the 5 points. Now my next turn, I placed this here and I got 6 points. I need to move 6 more. And I like that there's no points to keep track of. It's just the discs are kind of the points, and you're trying to get rid of all of your discs. So cool little indie game. I think it sounds pretty fun, to be honest. So I'm definitely looking into that one. Wanted to give it a shout out. I like showcasing games from smaller teams here. I think this might be their first. Yeah, this is our first created. Clemens von Bank. They're a young and independent game publisher from southern Germany. Because they're in Germany, I didn't look at shipping. I guess we should look here. Yeah, shipping is a little expensive to America, but anyways, very unique and cool looking game. Wait, what is this? Runes Bundle. You can get shipping a little bit less expensive if what? Where's the bundle? Do you have to get like 2 games or something? Which I don't think that's a... We're offering the best price and special shipping offer for the bundle. Maybe there must be like a different pledge that has the bundle. Oh, you could fly to Germany and do local pickup, Devin.
Oh, perfect.
There you go. Let's see. So about $40 for a copy of the game. Or you can get the bundle, which is, 2 copies of the game. And with the 2 copies of the game, you get a discount on shipping. So if you have a friend that also wants it, then you can get the games a little bit cheaper and, each split half of the shipping or something. So cool idea. They know it's not cheap to ship things worldwide, so I like that they did that. That's Runes, the game. Looks pretty cool. That one ends on next Sunday, December 8th. Okay, this one is one of the biggest ones right now. It's Avalon, the Riven Veil, which is a big name. Very cool looking game, though. If, again, you like games with miniatures and you like games that are like dudes on a map and I'm fighting you, kind of area majority with lots of combat. This one has 5,000 backers and almost $800,000 backed. This company released Oathsworn a couple of years ago, and that game was uber popular. So I think people are kind of hyped by this one as well because of the kind of the success and how good Oathsworn was. Has a very cool look. It's like King Arthur, but much more like fantasy. Like, I think that these characters like go into like the underworld and stuff at times as well. But basically, there are 4 different factions. Let me see if I can find them here. You've got Guinevere and the Knights of the Round. This faction has these cool pieces here. Again, very big mini there for that piece with the cool flag. Mordred and the Undead. Cool looking pieces. Really like them. Merlin and the Druids. And Balor and the, what would you call that? Fomorians? Very cool. And you'll be moving around this map, discovering new areas, and these tiles will like flip over to form the map. Then you'll be doing a lot of fighting. Everything in this game is done with cards. And during, I think, the different phases of the game, you'll be. I like it when games use this mechanism. I have one called Mission Red Planet that uses this that I really like. You'll put a card face down, and once everyone has put one face down, then you'll reveal them all at the same time. And whoever played the card with the highest initiative value gets to go first. But then I think they have to pay for that card with some other cards from their hand that match that initiative value. So you have to like kind of pay to go first and do stuff. Cool system, because again, you're kind of playing the other people. Like if I know, oh, I think he really wants to go first, I'm going to try and get in his head to make him think I'm going to do a high bid. Then he'll do a really high bid, and I'll just do a super low one, and just kind of burn some extra of his resources. But cool idea. And then the combat, I think, is also resolved with those cards as well. This one's gotten a lot of buzz. Like I said, very big pieces. Let's look at the different pledge levels really quick. They kind of have a lot going on here. Where are they? Pledge levels. So you've got the base game, $59.99, which does come with 5 miniatures in the base game. I'm guessing they're mostly like the leaders of each of those factions, and then the rest of the characters are cardboard standees. But everything else looks pretty cool. Then for $40 more at $100, you've got every character, I think, is miniatures. I don't see any standees there yet. So that adds basically the miniatures box, which I think is the second box here. And then you can get more. There's like a lore journal, hollow foil, and gold stamped boards. That was kind of that cool shimmer that was showing up above on all of the boards and box at $150. And then this last one also adds the iron forged box, which gives you every resource in the game and like nice metal pieces. There's also a big metal holy grail, which is, I think, like the main thing that the factions are trying to fight to find. So you can bling this game out as much as you want, but I do appreciate that even in the base one, which, it's not the cheapest base game, but at $60, it's not the most expensive base game either. There are still 5 big miniatures in it. You don't have miniatures for everything, but it's probably okay. So that is Avalon, the Riven Veil. There's a lot more about this game as far as like the lore and everything that you can find out here on the page. There are also, I think, some like stretch goals and other stuff. Yeah, lots of stuff here. I want to just look at shipping. Again, big box, lots of pieces. Sometimes they might be shipping you 2 boxes if you're getting the minis and the game. So shipping here is another thing to take into consideration, much like most Kickstarter campaigns. That is, what do we call it? Avalon, the Riven Veil. It's on Kickstarter until Tuesday, December 10th. Okay, next up is Revenant from Mindclash Games. Mindclash does really big, like complex games usually. Devin, kind of their most recent game was a much smaller one for them because they do bigger, more complex games. It's what's it called? We played it and we ended up playing one of the rules wrong. It was this one. What's it called? Ironwood.
Oh yes.
That one's, again, really cool pieces with like the metal pieces and the wood pieces. Cool board, very unique world. This one is a kind of worker placement game where you are trying to evacuate a bunch of people before this like alien clan or whatever destroys this planet and all of these people. So you're filling these cool big ships up with workers trying to fight back the aliens, and then at some point you're going to put enough resources into this Revenant, the main ship, that it will launch. So you're in that way you're a little bit working together, but this is like whoever gets the most points wins. It's a competitive game. Here are some of their other games. You can see Anachrony is probably their most famous. It's in the top 50 games of all time. Voidfall is one of their later or more recent ones. This game, Revenant, is actually in the same like narrative universe as Voidfall. So these Voidfall alien creatures are that were used in that game are actually what are coming here to this planet, and so it's kind of just a different game in the same universe. So if you like worker placement, 1.5 to 2 hour games, complexity level at about 3.5, which is kind of the sweet spot that David likes, to be honest. Right around 3.
What do you think I like? 2.5?
Yeah, I bet you're a little bit lower. You like a bit of like combo goodness in your cards though. So I think you're slowly starting to eke up as well.
I'm getting somewhere.
Yeah. But cool pieces here where you're like putting damage and like workers and leaders on these cool ship pieces. Again, I don't think every version of this game gets the cool plastic miniature ships. This game is pretty hot as well. Mind Clash is a well-known game name, in the board game space, especially in pretty complex Euro games. So let's see real quick comparison of editions here. They have a retail edition. Oh, sorry, that when the game eventually comes to retail, they think it will cost 65 euros, and it will come with the core components, dual layered ships, and any unlocked gameplay content. Then the two versions you can buy here on the Kickstarter campaign are the Captain Edition for 80 euros and the Admiral Edition for 120. So you can see Captain Edition even gets you quite a bit more than just the base. Retail version will get you an insert, corruption miniatures, crew miniatures. Then if you want like the big Revenant ship miniature and the other stuff, Voidborn ship miniatures, then you're gonna have to get the more expensive one. So a couple different versions based on if you want those ship minis or if you're okay with cardboard ships. I want to see what they look like. Are they double layered in the Captain Edition? Where is the there's the comparison, but I want to see what they look like in the Captain Edition. Is that not on here? What's in the box? Oh, here we go. Captain Edition. Yeah, they are double layered. So the Revenant ship here, you can see there are still recessed spots for those workers to go. But that does look a little less cool than the big like plastic ship,
Yeah.
So anyways, I do appreciate that companies offer both options. I'm more and more, I want the cheaper version of a game. Even though it does look cooler, I'm like, okay, if the gameplay is the same from one version to the next, I can get past the fact that this is a cardboard piece compared to a plastic one, usually, unless there is like some really specific reason. And I think that these are double layered kind of helps there. So that's probably the version I would look at. But
that's easier to do in video games. I choose lower quality graphics, but it gives me a reward for doing so. Higher frame rates,
yeah,
more response.
The reward here is less money spent.
But yes, man, that is true. Look at that.
Cool pieces, though.
You could paint that.
You could if you were like more artistic and creative than me. And yeah, I mean those do look cool. Maybe I take it all back. Maybe get the ultra crazy one, because that is cool looking. Anyways, that is Revenant. The next game from Mind Clash Games. And that one is on Kickstarter until, as he scrolls back to the top, also Sunday, I think. Nope, not. Tuesday, December 10th. And then, is this the last one, Devin?
2 more.
Oh, 2 more. Okay. Another indie small one that I wanted to give a shout out to. This next one.
Come over.
the link didn't like us. It's called Dragonlings. And it is a card game about kind of growing up dragons from their little dragonling stage. I can't say that. Dragonling stage into bigger dragons. So, this game is for 1 to 6 players, ages 7 plus. It's a fairly simple game to play. I was kind of surprised by the playtime, though. It's 45 to 90 minutes. That's a little bit of a range. In this game, you're going to be playing cards down into these, what they call a tower or a stack, basically, of dragon cards. So you have a hatchling or a level 1 dragon of different colors that have like different abilities. Very kind of cutesy dragon artwork. And then you'll be playing higher level dragons on top of those later. So like a level 2 and a level 3 and a level 4 up to a level 5, I think. On a turn, you can either grow a dragon to the next level if you have a dragon that matches the next value up and the same color. And some cards will have like 2 colors, like this is a blue-red dragon, so it could go on the blue or the red tower. Or instead of growing that turn, you can use that dragon's ability and you kind of tip it or tap the card to show that you use the ability and then you can't grow that dragon that turn. And that might let you draw some or get some more eggs or whatever. And so you're building out these like upgrading levels of dragons, but you have to determine on what turns you're going to upgrade them and what turns you're going to tap all of them to like use as many fancy abilities as you can. Pretty simple, minimalistic art style, but I think that card play seems pretty fun. When a card comes out, you can see you play it face down. Basically, that just means it's tapped on that turn. That dragon has growing pains, is what they say here in the instructions. Basically, you just can't use that ability until the next turn. But and then at the end, after all of the either treasure cards or dragon cards are out, have been drawn, then whoever has the most points wins. Each of your dragons gets the number of points at each level. So a level 5 dragon would get 15 points for the 5, 4, the 3, the 2, and the 1, if I did that math correctly. That's a 5 factorial for you, Devin.
That was amazing.
And yeah, each player also gets like a trainer card that has a different kind of asymmetric goal on it. And I think you can pair that with a different like asymmetric card as well. So there's a bit of variability in this box. It's just a very, very small box. I wonder if they have the box size here with a bunch of cards in it. You can play it solo, in teams, or free for all. Where's the box? Dang it, she was holding the box in the video, and I was like, wow, that's a cool size box. It kind of reminds me of the All Play little square boxes, but it looked a little bit deeper than those. I think the game is $19. Not being able to see that box is going to drive me nuts. We're going to click on this video and see if I can find the box. What? I swear. Where did she show the box? We're not
What's
leaving
in the box.
Yeah. We're not leaving until we find this box. So where's the how to play? I think it was in that video. Here we go. Oh yeah, it's right there. You see that little baby box? Kind of like a thick little box. I like the way that box looks for some reason.
I also like that box.
Let's see. Shipping is $5 in America, or $7 for 2 games. I think the game is 19. Yeah, $19. Might be 23 if you're not in the early bird deal, but I don't know. Again, want to give a shout out to an indie game. Kind of reminds me of a game we'll be talking about in our ending segment really quickly called Canopy, which is a 2-player card game where you are also building up trees, and then you put like a cap on the tree, like the canopy of the tree, and the taller your tree can get, you'll get more points. So I like that system. So that is, I've lost the picture here. That is Dragonlings, which has its campaign here on Kickstarter until Wednesday, December 11th. All right, Devin, the last, what is this called? Campaign of the week is called Trickety. This is a trick-taking card game that I think is unique because you're not always just trying to win the trick. I'm really into trick-taking games lately.
It's also unique that it's 3 to 5 players.
Yeah, a lot of trick-taking games kind of cap at 4.
Well, it's weird that it starts at 3.
Trick-taking is hard to do at 2.
Oh, is it?
A little bit. So that part, at the 3 players, I don't think is too crazy. But going up to 5,
I take it back. To anyone listening, it wasn't weird. It just seemed weird to me.
I think that was a good call out, so I like it. I don't fully understand every rule of this one, but basically, whoever plays or wins the trick gets to choose one of the cards in the trick to add to like their bird collection in front of them. So if you win the trick, that's cool because I get to choose whichever card I want to add. So that is an incentive to win the tricks. But not winning the tricks, there's also different ranges of cards for the 5 different suits. So 1 to 11, 5 to 15, and kind of a varying range there. I like that. Also cool, you can, sorry, I got distracted a little bit from what I was talking about, but we'll come back to it. During the trick, you have to follow one of the lead colors if you can. So the first player plays blue, second player has to play blue if they have blue. Third player doesn't have blue, so they play yellow. Now the fourth player can play blue or yellow, whichever one they want. They're not forced to play the lead color, which is also unique. Let me see. You get points for having like a big flock. And I think I feel like I skipped the section. Whoever got last, didn't win the trick, got last place in the trick, gets these sunflower tokens. I don't think sunflower. Oh, they are sunflowers. Sunflower seed tokens. And you can use them in order to do some special things like move birds around in your flock or swap a bird from your hand with a bird in your flock. So by not winning the tricks, you're getting these sunflower tokens that allow you to have more flexibility with your flock. But by winning the trick, you get the birds that you want. So there's like an incentive to do both, which is
it's like Mario Kart. Fall back, you get a better power.
You get that blue shell.
Yeah.
You get those sunflower seeds.
Blue sunflower seed.
Yeah, exactly. Again, I'm really into trick taking right now. I think that this one seems pretty cool, kind of unique in that genre. So I wanted to give it a shout out again is this a first time campaigner here? They have, he's created 2. So anyways, not his first rodeo, but his second rodeo here. And I think it looks cool. I like the bird art. It's like kind of minimalist, but also looks like professionally done.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I couldn't draw that. It's really well done, but it looks like a professional did it with colored pencils.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. So that is Trickety. That one ends on Friday, December 13th. So that one's not for a little bit, the end date at least, but you've got a little time to look at those. All right, Devin, those were 7 pretty cool looking games in my opinion. What is going to be Devin's pick of the week?
Oh, shit.
For December 2nd when this video goes live.
I'm torn between 2 right now. The one you have on the screen.
Trickety looks cool.
Trickety does look cool. And Tatsumi.
Good pick. I think Tatsumi looks really cool.
Tatsumi looks very interesting. Well, it was the one with the transparent board and the dragons and the rings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was kind of deciding between that and runes. But for some reason, I felt like I wanted to play Tatsumi more than I wanted to play runes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was just because there were dragons there, but
yeah, I feel like both of those are very cool picks, and Trickety as well. But yeah, Tatsumi, man, that transparent board that also is how you store it in the box. Such a cool idea.
Well, and I like how when you're moving around the board, you're basing it off of what's coming next, what other players are doing, and then you have your own player board, it seems like, with your own goal, your grouping, and your dragon has like its own unique win condition almost. Not a win condition, but
own different way to score points, probably.
Yeah, and I thought that was unique because you're doing multiple things at once.
I agree. I think it looks really cool. This one definitely has my eye. It's one of my picks of the week as well. Tatsumi is
that was my pick.
Pull that list up one more time. I just want to see if I can pick a different one. Then, man, that's tough.
If I wouldn't have picked that, is that what you would have picked?
I think, surprisingly, I think my picks of this week, as is kind of becoming common for the kinds of games I back in crowdfunding, are games that I do not think will come to retail later. Like, if the game's going to come to retail later, then, I mean, this sounds bad, but I can get it for like half off eventually.
And no shipping.
With free shipping.
Well, probably still have to ship it because all your games are unique. They're not just at Target.
That's true, but nowadays, like Amazon, like carries almost everything.
Oh, that is true.
So like Revenant and Sea Beasts and Avalon look really cool. Man, a $200 game. Avalon, for example, might never come to Amazon. So that is another kind of selling point for crowdfunding. It's like, this is a big, expensive game with lots of minis. It's probably not coming to retail. This is the only way to get it. And that's cool. But the 4 small ones here, Tatsumi, that you just covered, Runes, which is like a very cool looking abstract game, Dragonlings, and Trickety. All 4 of those games I could see possibly not coming to retail. And then I'm like, okay, this is the only way I could get that game, and then it probably won't exist. Right? And so those are the kinds of games I'm much more likely to back. I'm gonna give it to Trickety here. I just want to see really quick while we're.
It's a good pick.
I think the artwork's cool. I'm really into trick taking at the moment. Just wanted to see if that swapped. Okay, it did. And I like the idea of a unique trick taking game. I played Aurum recently and really enjoyed that one, where you're not allowed to follow the same suit. And then you're trying to win these cool gold cards that are off on the side. Wow, what a cool twist. And you're also playing in teams. This one, you're not playing in teams, but you don't necessarily want to win every trick so that you can get those flexibility sunflower seeds. Looks really cool. So I think there's quite a few cool ones this week, but Trickety is going to be David's pick of the week for December 2nd, 2024. Thanks so much for watching Crowdfunding Corner this week, and we will see you next week for another one. Devin, to end this episode number 35 of the Super Game Brothers podcast, it was Thanksgiving last week. I'm actually going to restart that little stinger.
Okay.
Just a little behind the scenes here so that I can go back to our face cam, because I don't think having Trickety here at the beginning of that other video would make a lot of sense. So we're going back to the face cam. And now I'm going to say the exact same thing I just said.
Oh, wow. I don't even know what's coming.
I know. We're going back in time. All right, Devin, to end episode 35 of the Super Game Brothers podcast with a little deja vu, we're going to go over the top 10 board games that fit in a stocking, baby.
Oh,
because Christmas is coming up here in just a few weeks.
Hopefully your stocking is the same size as ours.
Yeah, I kind of got a chunker, but
ours is a chunky stocking.
You know, some of these games I think would fit in a stocking a bit smaller, but some would not. So I actually just found another game that's definitely going on this list. So we got a top 11.
Oh, shoot. Look what you getting bonus footage.
So we're going to go down to the table and just really quickly go over my top 11 recommendations for games that fit in a stocking. Devin's played some of these. We'll have him give a thumbs up or thumbs down on if he liked them or not. It's probably going to be lots of thumbs ups because none of these are bad. But anyways, down at the table, here we go. All right, Devin, we're down at the table. Here's the stocking.
It looks epic.
Yeah, it does. We're going to do the stocking test with each one of them just to make sure it fits. First up, we got Compile. That baby is definitely fitting in this stocking, but for the stocking test, oh yeah, that one fits in there just fine.
Wow.
See that? Compile is a really cool 2-player card game where you are playing cards in one of 3 different lanes. They call that a lane battler. And your opponent is also playing in those same lanes, and you're trying to be the first one to get to basically like 10 strength in that lane so that you can compile that lane, and the first player to compile all 3 lanes wins. Cool thing about this game is that it comes with like, I can't remember how many are in the base game, but maybe 10 of these mini decks, and each mini deck has a title. Like this one is Death. And there's Life and Apathy and Love. And each mini deck has 6 cards in it. You'll choose 3 mini decks, shuffle the 6 cards of each together for 18 cards, and then that will be what you play with. So you'll be playing kind of a hybrid or a Frankenstein deck of those 3 mini decks. Very cool box, cool art style, very shiny and glossy, fancy cards. This game's just really great. Devin and I played what was that, best of 3 tournament of this one here on the channel. It was such a blast. Compile's excellent. Can't recommend it enough this year. And only like 15 or 20 bucks.
Yep. So big thumbs up from me.
Yep.
That is one I've played.
All right, next up, we got Yokai Septet. This is the pocket edition that just came out, but I think there is one in a slightly bigger box that's been out for a few years. This is a trick-taking game. Oh, really quick. This is a pretty simple one. That one, you could fit 10 of these guys in there. So, no problem in the stocking. This is a trick-taking game where you're trying to win the 7s, basically. There are 7 suits. Each suit has 7 cards in it, I believe. And the 7 in each suit is in a different spot in the distribution. So one of the suits might have the numbers 1 to 7, and the 7's the highest. Another suit might have 7 to whatever that is, 13, something. And the 7's the lowest card. You're playing in teams, trying to win tricks, win as many 7s as you can. It's a really, really excellent trick-taking game. Devin hasn't played this one yet. But man, look at that artwork on there. So cool.
Just for that artwork, I give this game a thumbs up.
He gives it a Yokai Septet 7 out of 7.
Oh, yeah.
All right, next up in our kind of rapid video here is Scout. This is the original box size, but they do have a different box size at Target that you can get. It's just a slightly bigger box that I also think would fit just fine in the stocking. This is an excellent game. If you know anyone that likes card games like, I don't know, like Phase 10 or something, this game is twice as good as Phase 10 and takes like a fifth the amount of time to play. You can play this in 20 minutes. That's what it says here on the box. And it's just so great. It's technically, I think, called a ladder climbing game, which basically just means you'll play a hand to the center of the table, and then the next player has to play something better than you. So like the hand just continues to get better and better, or if you can't play something better, then you take a card from that hand and give that person a point. And you play a few different rounds based on the number of players, and whoever has the most points wins. Just excellent. Scout is so good. You can see it was up for like Game of the Year when it came out. It's amazing. Devin, I don't think you've played this one, but I bought it.
Played it once.
You did?
You bought it for Mom.
I did.
Yeah, or at least I watched her play it. So for that watch, I give this game a thumbs up.
Nice. Did you play it with Mom, or was it when I was there?
Maybe I just watched.
I don't remember. Scout's amazing. So that one's up next. All right, next up in rapid fire here, we got Push. Push is stocking test. He goes in just fine. This one's from Ravensburger. You can get this game for like 10, 12 bucks. This is a push your luck game, hence the name. If you know anyone that likes Uno, this game's better than Uno. Also plays about the same amount of time as Uno. There's a stack of cards. You're going to flip over cards from that deck, put them in one of 3 different piles. You can never put the same color or number of card in the same pile. And if you ever can't place a card in one of those 3 piles, you bust. And then you won't get any of the stacks. You're trying to make a really great stack for yourself and then leave bad stacks for the next players who might have to roll the bust die. And if they do, they might lose all of their cards of a certain color, purging like a bunch of points. Super fun push your luck game. You can play it in 10 to 15 minutes. It's been a hit with everyone I've played it with, even people that don't like games. So Push is excellent. Devin, I think you've played this one, but it's been a long time.
I did. And for that play that I did in the past, I'm going to give this one a thumbs up.
Thumbs up out of 10. Love it. All right, that's 4. We're zooming. Next up is Aurum. I don't know how to pronounce this one. How would you say that?
Aurum.
Aurum. What if I hold it upside down like that?
Morua.
Aurum also fits in there. It's a little bit bigger than some of the other boxes we've been looking at. This is a trick-taking game from Pandasaurus. I got it on sale for $8 Might be slightly more expensive than that usually. But this one, man, it's so unique. You can play it 3 players or 4 players in teams of 2. You're trying to win tricks to match the bid that you have set for the round, but you can change your bid at certain times using these fancy gold cards. And this game has a must not follow mechanism where if someone leads with a blue card, then no one else can play a blue card that round. Whereas usually in a trick-taking game, if someone plays blue, then everyone has to play blue. So has a couple unique things with it. Those gold cards and that not following mechanism is excellent. We were very surprised. We played this one right after we played Yokai Septa, and after playing both, we couldn't decide which one we liked better. They're just different in different ways. So Aurum, super good. Devin hasn't played that one, but it has a good Aurum, doesn't it?
Oh, that game's got aura.
Got all the aura. All right, Devin, we got 5 more. First up, no thanks. This one comes in a slightly chunkier box.
But is it too chunky for our stocking?
We'll see in just a sec. But really, it's just a little stack of cards and then a big slot for all of these black marbles. So you could rebox that even if you wanted to a box half the size, probably. But even in this chonker box that you can get for like $8-9, oh heck yeah, he'll go in there just fine. He can even hang out the top. Someone could see no thanks coming out of their Christmas stocking and be like, no thanks, it's Christmas? What do you mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
This is kind of a classic. It's been out for quite a long time. In this game, you're trying to bid to not take points. You want to have the lowest score possible. So a card will come out, and you either on your turn have to take the card, which means you'll get all those points. You definitely don't want this 33. Or you'll take one of your secret stones that you have in your hand, keeping the number you have secret, on the card in order to not take it, and then it goes to the next person. But each of those stones are -1 point at the end of the game, so you want to have as many of them as possible. Man, just such a great game. There are certain times when you might want a card, because if you have cards whose value are ascending, like next to each other, like 22 and 23, then you only score the lowest of those numbers. So this 23 in that scenario would be worth 0 points to me, but it'd be worth 23 points to you. So I'm just going to try and keep placing stones on it to milk as many out of the rest of the players. And how long do I think I can do that before someone decides, well, I'm not going to let David get all those stones? Such a simple little game. You can play it in 10 minutes. It's really great.
Yeah, it can be super strategic. There's a little bit of luck to the game, is there not?
Yeah, a little
from what
bit
I remember.
With the card draws for sure. And I think at the start of the game, 9 cards are pulled out of the deck and placed in the box without looking at them. So you might be trying to, you've got like the 20, the 21, the 23, and the 24, and you really need that 22 to come out.
But it might not even be in the game.
It might not even be in the game. So
and for that reason, I'm going to give this game a thumbs up.
A thumbs up out of 10 for no thanks, baby.
It is a good game.
It's a really good one.
All of these have been, though. Well, all the ones I've played.
All right, next up is Spots. Devin, I don't think you've played this one.
I haven't seen this one.
Oh, it fits. Its box is a little bit tight in there, but hey, it passes the stocking test. Spots is a push your luck dice rolling game where you have these dog cards, and the dogs have little spots on them, like that needs a 5 in order to complete that dog's spots. So you're trying to roll the dice that are shown on the cards that you have. But if you ever, at the end of your turn, can't place one of the dice you have to put it in your doghouse. And if the value of all of the dice in your doghouse ever gets, I think, more than 7, then you bust. And all of the dice on all of your unfinished dogs, I think, are wiped. So, trying to decide how far to push your luck. Very cute, funny art. One of the
they're all so derpy.
They're all very derpy dogs, and one of them just has an absolutely hilarious card that everyone laughs at. And so real quick before we put this away, just going to show it to you, and hopefully this won't get me banned on YouTube. It's kind of a funny, weird card that I'm surprised that they went with. Reminds me of a certain episode of Bob's Burgers, if you've seen that.
Sure have.
But for some reason, we've got Bert here. And where is his dot?
Who
knows? Nobody knows what's going on with Bert. But anyways, very fun cards. Even though Bert is a little more naked than he should be, maybe. I guess dogs are all naked. Who knows?
That is true.
Anyways, that's Spots. It's a very funny and fun push your luck dice rolling game. Look how many dice are in there. There's a ton of dice. You got some cool little dog bones. You got a sneak peek inside the box. Here.
How interesting. And the dots are different sizes on these dice.
Yeah. They kind of made the dice even look
the
derpy.
Dice are derpy.
Derpy dice, derpy dogs.
And derpy Bert.
And derpy Bert. Yeah, exactly. That one's great. Really, really fun. Push your luck. Dice rolling game. That's Spots. All right, 3 more. Next up is Canopy. This is a 2-player card game with very beautiful art from Vincent Dutray. The game was designed by Tim Eisner. And in this one, you're trying to draft cards from this kind of center draft area in order to make the best, like, rainforest. You'll be making trees. You're trying to get them super tall. You eventually have to put a card sideways on top, like a canopy card, to cap that tree. Tall trees or like a high number of trees will get you points. And then you can also get animal cards. You're getting different sets of animals and flowers and stuff will get you points. It's a pretty simple 2-player drafting game. It's one of my wife's very favorites. I think because it's simple to play, has quite a bit of variability in like the different types of animals you can add in each game. And it's just fun to see. The artwork is very, very pretty. Like I said, from kind of one of the masters in board game art, Vincent Dutray. So Canopy is excellent. We didn't do the stocking test with him, so let's make sure he fits. Oh, yeah. Like a glove.
You could even put a canopy on that box in the stocking.
Exactly. Yeah. You haven't played that one, right, Devin?
No.
Okay. 2 more games. We'll do the one Devin hasn't played first. This one is Cat in the Box. This is another trick-taking game. Is that 3 trick-taking games on one list? It sure is.
Oh, yeah.
This is one of the more famous trick-taking games of the last decade, for sure. In this game, all of your cards are black and are suitless until you play one. Then you get to decide what color it was. And when you do that, you will place one of your pieces on the associated color. I play the 3, and I'm like, that was the blue 3. And then you get points in this game by winning tricks, and you want to win the same number as your bid. If you do, then you get points. You also get points by making clusters of your tokens. So if I was able to make a big grouping of those tokens, I'd get points as well. Very cool trick-taking game. That idea of I have cards, but they're not any specific color until I decide to play them is really cool. And it does follow normal trick-taking rules. Like, if someone leads with a red 3, and then I play a 4, but I don't want it to be red, then I have to put a marker on this tray in front of me on the red to show that I can no longer play red cards that round because I didn't follow. And if I didn't follow in a regular trick-taking game, that would mean that I do not have red. So even though all my cards are black, I still have to follow that rule. Yeah, super cool. Cat in the Box. It's a little, maybe more like thinky than some other trick-taking games you played, but it's great. We got the Cat in the Box. Fits just great in the stocking, ladies and gentlemen.
Cat in the stocking.
Cat in
the sock.
Oh, yeah, there you go. All right, and then last up for this top 11 list of games that are great and fit in stockings, if that's the name of this list. This one is The Shipwreck Arcana. This is a deduction game. That's a cooperative deduction game. You can play really with any number of players. It says 2 to 5 here, but I've been playing this and had like people just walk by and then just kind of help the team. In this game, whoever's turn it is will take 2 tiles out of a bag. Those tiles will have numbers on them from like 1 to 7. And then they have to put one of their tiles in front of one of these 4 cards that are out here. And the card will say something on it like, you can only place the tile here if the tile you still have in your hand is even or odd or is 1, 2, or 3, or things like that. And you're trying to get the rest of the players to be able to guess what the value is on the tile you kept in your hand. And so if I placed a tile in front of this card, okay, now we know the one in his hand is odd. But why didn't he place it in front of this one? And does that give us more information? Just a really fun puzzle. You can talk it out amongst the team. People can kind of, step in and out. It's really, really great. There is like a mini expansion you can buy as well that adds more complex or advanced cards. This one, very small box. Again, fits in a stocking just fine.
And this might be my pick of all the games for your stocking stuffers.
Mm-hmm.
This was really fun. You're trying to be on the same wavelength as other people.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's great. There are some deduction games that come in a box 5 times this big that I don't think are as good as this one. It's really, really excellent. And in an awesome, small little box. So, anyways, Devin, that's going to do it for this list. The top 11 board games that fit in a stocking. And you know that they do, because we did the stocking test live on camera. So thanks so much for watching this top 10 list here on Gaming Top Down. And we'll see you on the next one. And Devin, that's going to do it for episode 35. Woo! The Super Game Brothers podcast. I said it was going to be short. We're still at an hour 50. So I don't know what's going on.
I don't either.
I say that every week, though. So we're just going to assume from now on that it is impossible for an episode to be under 90 minutes. Think we can prove that wrong?
No.
I don't think.
Especially after a Game Awards show.
Yeah, that's true. Not next week. Or not the next episode. But the episode after that? Ooh, not even that one. Because the Game Awards will be the next day. The episode after that one, that'll be a beefy one, I imagine.
Oh, yeah.
But that'll be fun. It'll be right before Christmas. I might have work off. We can talk about all the Game Awards. Maybe Silk Song will finally come out.
Oh.
And if it like shadow drops and that's out and I'm playing 9 Souls at the same time, I might I don't even know, be lifted to a higher plane of existence from playing 2 excellent games at the same time.
That'll be a crazy experience for you.
Yeah, it would. Really would.
Wow.
Anyways.
Thank you for listening.
Yes, we really appreciate it. Thanks for listening, subscribing, liking the videos, commenting. Thanks for following our Patreon at patreon.com/supergamebrothers. You can follow it completely for free. But if you do throw us a buck or two, you can get the episodes of the podcast a few days early. You can write into the show, get your name in the credits, other fun stuff like that, and help support independent content like this that is not, supported by preview money. So appreciate you that way. That's going to do it for episode 35. We'll be back next week as we continue our trek towards episode 52, which will be, I don't know what's our special thing going to be for our 52nd. Maybe we don't do anything special until episode 100. But then on that day, we're going to do a Mr. Beast like giveaway and give away 100 Teslas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's going to be crazy. Stay tuned.
It will be. That sounds really nice. But anyways, that's going to do it for this episode, and we will see you next week for the next one. Till then, adios.